don't think he's worth the trouble at this point. We have 40 days until the election. He is trying to discredit mail-in voting, which is hurting. As you've heard some of the Republicans say, this has been an important part of our electoral success, mail-in voting. He's discrediting that vote by mail. And so the answer to it all, the antidote to almost every ailment that I have named is the vote. And so right now, our point is it's no use our orchestrating one thing or another when what really matters in terms of the peaceful transfer of power is that people vote and that their vote is counted as cast.
Well, that's the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. Let's get some analysis on this from Clarence Lusane, who's a professor of political science at Howard University, and he joins us live from here in Washington, D.C. Thank you very much for coming on to the programme. Is everyone getting a little bit overexcited about Trump's comments on not accepting the election? I mean, he won't be allowed to steal it, in quotes, will he? The courts won't let him, the military won't let him. Is it a lot of fuss about nothing, or do you think it's a serious proposition?
So I think what's serious is that the Trump campaign does want to disrupt the election. All of the actions we're seeing by Trump are sending one clear message, and that is that he does not think that he can win a popular vote and perhaps the Electoral College. And so what we see is a setup to discredit the vote that comes out in November. So I'm actually not taking it as a given that we will not know on election night who the winner is, because we could potentially, and I'm not saying will happen, see a Biden surge that absolutely makes it clear that by the time the first set of rounds of polls close, that Trump has no path to victory. But even if that doesn't happen, Trump is still very much afraid that because he's never been a popular president, he's never gotten over anywhere near 50%, that he cannot win in a straight up election. So if he can figure out a way, he and the campaign, to first create distrust and then rely on the courts, that might be a path to his victory.
Okay, you mentioned the court, but okay, let's assume he manages to get his choice of justice in before the election, so there'll be a 6-3 Conservative majority. Those justices accept the rule of law, don't they? They're not going to let him take the election if he hasn't won it legitimately, even if they do support him.
You would think so, but what will likely happen is that there will be court suits by the states, and Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan may all have serious issues where, for example, there are alternative sets of electors, or that there's a discussion or debate around what votes should be counted. So some of those cases may end up on the Supreme Court that could determine the outcome in a particular state. So Trump cannot stop the election overall, because the elections happen state by state. But the Trump campaign has been vigorously filing lawsuits in close to 40 states, I believe, trying to create a narrative that the election is not going to be fair. And so he only needs one judge or a Supreme Court decision that would say the votes in Michigan or the votes in Florida shouldn't count, or this set of electors should be selected over this. And so I think that's what he's hoping for. It's a Hail Mary kind of approach, but it's probably better than him thinking at this point he's going to win the popular vote.
Okay, a Hail Mary approach, but in your view, could the worst case scenario be that there are riots on the streets, or almost, some people have been talking about civil war if neither side can agree who's won?
Well, my biggest concern is violence at the polls. We've already seen some very tense situations with early voting just starting this week in Virginia. That could escalate on November 3rd. And so that could be a pretext for all kinds of declarations from the president. And we know that President Trump's supporters, at least some of them, are very passionate and will, like him, never accept that he has legitimately lost. And so I think it's incumbent upon Republican leaders to step forward, and when the election, or if the election goes in Biden's favor, to make it clear that they lost, there should be a peaceful transition, and that's how we should move forward. That will not be the position of Donald Trump. He will never, and he said this, under any circumstances, accept losing as legitimate.
Clarence Lusane, thank you very much indeed for your contribution.